This is Amplify You, the podcast about you discovering your message and broadcasting it to the world. If you're a coach, author, or speaker, you'll want to tune in. If you're looking for the best return on your time investment to get your message out to the world in a bigger way, we're giving you full access and behind the scenes look of how we're running our podcast, how our clients have found success, and what you can do to launch your podcast today. The world needs your message. I'm Michelle Abraham, the host. Join my family as we unleash your unique genius and find the connections you need to launch your adventure today. Join us and let's get amplified. Hello, Amplify You, Michelle Abraham, your host here today. I am so excited to bring you another Ask the Expert interview. I am here today with my good friend, Anahita Shahrvini. And oh my gosh, I'm so excited to share with you guys what Anahita is all about. But before I do, let me just say a quick hi to Anahita, so you're not sitting there left in the cold while I ramble on over here. So hi, Anahita, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you. It's great to be here. How are you doing?
I'm great. And I'm just really excited to bring here. I think you and I met, oh my gosh, probably 5 or 6 years ago through our friend Diane Ralston at Dynamic Women. And we used to go to Dynamic Women meetups and we got to connect through there. And at the time you were running a business, which I just thought was so cool. I was a new mom at the time. And I just still think it's very cool. As my kids are getting older, we still use them. You started this business called Gogo Bags, which I think is super cool. And for those of you who aren't familiar with Gogo Bags, they are reusable bags for kids' school lunches or for parents' work lunches, any lunches in the house. And Anahita can give you a better description and idea of them. But I just thought they were such a great idea. So my first initial introduction to Anahita was this amazing woman who's taken this hobby and passion and totally turned it into a full-on business where in mainstream grocery stores, she was rocking and rolling, and it turned into a big business. Now, fast forward today, a few years later, Anahita has just written a book, and we're going to talk about it in a minute. It's about to go live in the next few weeks. And now she's turned her passion for crafting and helping artisans now into a coaching business, which is so cool. So you've learned the craft of either creating a product, then taking it to market, selling it in the markets, then taking it to bigger chain stores and selling it. And now you've turned this into a book and then a coaching program. So what I wanted to bring you on here today or really dive into is like, how do you go from something that is a passion to then turning into that's a full-on business? And this is a great idea for those of you who are sitting at home who are thinking, oh, I love talking about this. I could do a podcast on crafting. I could do a podcast on knitting. I could do a podcast on, soccer because I love it so much. But how do you then turn that into a business that then is profitable and then you can make a living from something that you absolutely love? So Anahita, I'm turning it over to you. Take us back to how you got into doing Gogo Bags.
So that was in 2010. Mm-hmm. And I actually built Gogo Bags around my mom's hobby. Sewing is not my passion. It actually frustrates me. so definitely was not the right craft for me to build business for if it was just me. But then I wanted my mom to feel in purpose in her new home, Canada. And at the same time, I needed some reusable bags for my kids to go to school, zero waste style. It was not a thing then, believe it or not. I had to teach a lot of people about what is this, and there was a lot of education around it. Mm-hmm. So I built this business, and over the years, the first 2 years, I had no idea what I was doing. Mm-hmm. We were selling out in markets, but we were not making money. So soon I realized, okay, my pricing is not right. I figured that out. And then when the pricing was on par, I could see myself. Like I remember standing in craft markets, trying to put a smile on my face and looking all these other vendors selling their products so passionately. And I was standing there trying to sell one bag. Mm. And then it was that time that I decided, okay, I have to treat this as a business and not a hobby. and got my first coaching, figured out how to sell and how to use the language around my products. And then I was selling in markets successfully. I rebranded and we went directly to Whole Foods and other stores all around Canada. So last year, so that was the story of GogoBags. And how I got to this coaching was, I don't know, the curse and blessing of COVID, I guess. Last year, during COVID, GogoBags was successful on its own. But we didn't have craft markets last year. So I went to a couple of online craft markets and soon realized like they have no idea what to do. And most of the crafters there, especially, there are so many new crafters because a lot of people got laid off during COVID and
everyone
they started
became a crafter during COVID.
Crafter, yeah, why not? But then they had a hard time selling. So I decided that I need to help these new crafters. Built my own online Facebook market called Canadian Makers Market, and invited a few crafters to come, but there was a educational portion to it. I was teaching them before the market started. I would teach them how to speak around their product, how to put their pictures up, and what are the things to do specifically for Facebook. But I realized soon, like after 2 markets, I realized like they're like absorbing and they come back for more information. I always loved, like during my market days with GogoBags too, I would go to that new maker aisle and would encourage people and would help them to set up their craft market, like display and stuff like that. So yeah, I moved towards coaching them, enjoyed doing that. So now I'm almost finishing this book called Currency of Crafting, which I will be talking about all the different aspects of this business and how you can take your hobby into markets and into stores and sell online. And yeah, I do coaching around that as well.
I love your story because it came out from it started with your mom at your kitchen table and you needed to give her a job to do to keep her entertained while she was new to a country, right?
Yeah.
And it turned into also something that you needed for your kids. So it was kind of born into this really cool combination of something that you and your mom can do together. And, I love that you've learned the craft, you've learned what to do in the markets, how to display things, how to talk about the product, all the marketing that goes behind it. And I think that's so valuable for the crafters that are just getting started that have no clue. I mean, you said yourself, you didn't have a clue when you started, but after years of doing this, you've built so much credibility and information that's just so much needed out there to be like a coach for these crafters.
Yeah.
So, I love this story because it just shows that you really can do anything you want. You really can create a business out of something you love. Or if it's not creating the thing that you're loving, it's the, I think you found your love in the marketing and the teaching and the coaching part of it. It sounds like that you lit up when you started talking about helping these new crafters really make money from their table and sharing with them and seeing how they're growing. So I think that's fantastic. And I just want to really spotlight that. I think it's so cool that what you've done.
One of the things that when I would go to markets with GogoBags, people would come and say, "Oh, did you make these?" And I would never lie. I had a picture of my mom and I on the table, and I would say, "No, my mom sews, I sell. She sews, I sell." And that was my my motto.
I love that.
My expertise was into marketing and sales, and less than, well, I know all of the products, I know how to make them, but I would be bold if I was going to make any of those bags myself.
Yeah.
Pulling my hair out.
Right. Yeah. There's definitely a need for someone that to do the craft itself.
Yeah.
So, what were some lessons that you've learned over the course of time taking a product to market? What are some advice and some things that you maybe learned over the last few years that maybe could help people who are sitting with a passion and something they love doing, but they're just not sure about it turning into a business?
Yeah, definitely. They need to price their products right. Most of crafters, they don't consider their own time. And because they're love doing something, it doesn't feel that it took 2 hours for them to make that thing. They feel like, oh, it was 15 minutes. But no, really, it's not that 15 minutes. And they need to consider that time in their pricing as well to be profitable. That's a number one advice. And then the second thing, I had it in my mind, but it skipped.
That's okay. I think the number one was what I would have guessed as well as that.
Oh, the second, I remembered. Sorry. The second thing is not to be shy to ask for sales. Ask somebody to buy their product, not in a sense of, hey, come, I made this, buy it from me, but in a sense to give that, make the customer imagine what they can do with that product.
Ooh, yes.
Engage their imagination.
Right. And then now, like taking that into your coaching, what you're doing is creating that imagination for the crafters who they're going to build this business that's going to sustain their living. They'll be able to maybe quit their job, become a full-time crafter.
Yeah.
And you're kind of creating and painting that picture for them of what the future could look like with your support.
Exactly.
And I just love the name of your book, Currency of Crafting. I think that's so clever. It's such a good name. So tell us a little bit about the book. What does the book take them through, like how to start up a crafting business?
Yes, it goes from if you have not a crafting business to you are a successful crafter in craft markets, and now you want to take your product to stores. And we will go through even goal setting and the aspects of business that most crafters don't even think about, like ideal customers, ideal market, ideal stores. We have to work on these so we can figure out the language to use around the product. These are vastly overlooked in crafting business. So yes, the book has 3 sections. I call it Imagine, Create, Thrive. So we do some imagination, some goal setting, and we work through ideal customer, and then we get to creation of that is the pricing and production and how you can reduce your costs and the workflow in general. And then the thrive part is how to sell and your sales script and where to sell and
Awesome.
How to build your website too.
Oh, that's so great.
Yeah.
And so do you see now more so for people in your industry that things are moving more online? Do you think craft fairs will come back, or do you think it's better time spent for those looking at being in the crafting space, on market space to take things online?
I would still suggest for especially new crafters to go to craft markets. That's their market research. That's how they learn about their own product, because we make beautiful things, but the idea that we have of that product could be totally different from customers. And you can learn, for example, something that I learned in Gogo Bags. At the very beginning, together with our snack and sandwich bags, we had a bag called utensil bags. I had that utensil bag in a craft market and it was selling okay, but people would come and say, oh, this would be good for my toothbrush. I take toothbrush to work. Or somebody else would come and say, oh, I hate toothbrush holders, those plastic toothbrush holders there. You can't clean them properly, but you can put these in washer dryer. So quickly I put a toothbrush in the bag and put it on the table. My sales doubled.
Oh, wow.
And we rebranded the same product, same thing, and named it toothbrush bags. And then our sales doubled again. So it shows that that in-person conversation, you either have to do some sort of market research and in the online version, but the cheapest and easiest way to do that is in markets.
Yeah, that's such a great perspective on markets, that it's really like the training wheels, so you can get to see and hear what people are saying about your products. And that's great. I mean, I imagine a lot of products that are in stores now, they don't get that opportunity to hear what their customers are saying about their products when they're buying them. So that's a great opportunity, and different than what it would be online. Like, you still don't get that same sort of feedback online as you would in person.
Yeah, it's hard to communicate with customers online in a sense that telling your story, telling them how you make these, it's not as easy as doing it in person and in markets, although it's definitely doable. And online sales are a successful model as well. But I would definitely suggest starting with craft markets and online at the same time.
Awesome. Do you think that any passion can be turned into a business?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
What are some steps that people need to go from thinking that they have a passion to then actually really thinking about it and seeing if it is something that they want to turn into a business?
Oh, that's a hard question.
It's so variable too, depending on what the product is, but some general steps. Like if I love beading and I've made some jewelry with my beads, what would be the first kind of steps to thinking of just testing it out and seeing how I like it as a business?
Yeah, definitely. I would actually take it. First of all, you have to start with your friends and family, see if they like it. And not as a gift. They like to buy it. Something that most crafters shy away is to ask to sell their products to family and friends. So yes, you can give away some products, but not all the time. But again, I would go back in to craft markets. They can just, and not a very expensive craft market, a senior center craft fair, or a rec center or a church craft fair is a great location to see if you like doing this. And the other thing is, I would definitely pick up the phone and call somebody that I know who have been doing this, or somebody who is not a jeweler, but it's been in the market, like it's been in this industry for a long time, to know what it takes to be a successful crafter and sell your products. And then be real to yourself. Know that is doing craft markets all year long, is this something you want to do, or do you prefer to do something that you can sell to stores as well? I know crafters that craft markets are their only way of making income, but that's hard on your body as well and your time with your family. That wasn't for me. Like, I didn't want to be in craft markets all year long. The first few years, like 3 or 4 years, I was in a lot of craft markets, but soon I picked the ones that was only profitable to me. And I was, at the end, I was doing 1 or 2 markets a year. And the rest was coming through online and wholesale.
That's awesome. Yeah. And if I just hear you correctly, I think one of the things you said that was important, I just want to bring it to our audience is, start small, like those craft tables at those rec centers and senior centers are about $25 or $50 a table. So it's a small investment to see if you like it. And then two, I heard you say, find a mentor, find a coach, find someone who's done what you want to do and
Exactly.
model, and someone that can help you, show you the way. And now, if you had had someone doing something like what you do now today for crafters, what's your take on that?
Sorry, what was the question again?
If you had a mentor, in like you are today for those, like what would your journey have looked like?
Oh my God, I would get where I am right now in half the time.
Yeah.
And I have actually a client of mine the other day said, oh, gosh, I wish I met you 6 months earlier. I would save a lot of time and money.
Okay.
So yeah, definitely I would save a lot of time. I had to rebrand 3 times to get where I am. So I would save that and a lot of time as well.
For a lot of money too. And
Yeah.
as one of our podcasters, Kendi Mosick, said to us when we helped her launch her podcast, oh my gosh, you guys saved me 40 hours of time and a lot of gray hair. So
Exactly.
yeah, hiring a coach and doing a program, whether it's podcasting or crafting, is definitely the way to go. Find someone who is where you want to be and hire them to help you out. Anahita, before I let you go, any last, I know you have a really cool gift for us, and it's your essential packing list for when you go to craft markets, and I'm probably butchering the name of it. If you'd like to say the name for it, I will put the link in our show notes so that you guys can.
Yes, it's called, as you said, actually, essential packing list for for a successful craft market day.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit about it.
So in that list, I have included all the items that crafters may need in a market and the reason why they need it. For example, I prefer somebody take a bar stool instead of a chair to the market. And the reason is that when people see you, feel that you're standing, there is more likely that they come and engage with you. Rather, if they feel like you're sitting down on a chair below your table, they would think, oh, she's tired, I'm not going to bother her.
Or if you're sitting behind the table knitting and working on your craft and not
exactly that too. So yes, there is a huge list of the different items, and then there is a check mark, so you don't forget anything for the craft market. It's the worst thing that you drive 2-3 hours to get to a craft fair, and then you realize that, oh my God, I forgot my business card, or oh my God, I forgot my price tags. Right. That will make your day start on the wrong foot.
Right.
And it takes a lot of energy for you to get back on the track and start selling effectively.
Right. Yeah. Those are great things on the list. And we'll make sure we put a link to it in our show notes for this episode. So Anahita, how else can our audience get a hold of you if they want to connect with you? And I feel like something you said today really resonated with them and they need a mentor or want to have a connection call with you.
Yeah, thank you. So they can reach me at askanahita.com or on Facebook and Instagram, Ask Anahita.
Awesome. I love it. And Anahita is spelled Anahita.
Yes.
So Anahita, make sure you guys spell that correctly so then you can find her on all those platforms. Anahita, thank you so much for sharing your journey with us today. It's been great to dive in to the world of crafting with you. And I want to relate it back to podcasting again, guys. What she says is the principles, same goes for when you're starting a platform or starting a podcast, all comes from something that you're interested in or in a passion. And she said it herself, yes, you can turn your passion into a business. Absolutely, no doubt about it. As she has, as I have, as many others have, and it's really cool. But number one thing, go out and find someone who's doing what you want to do, and get them to coach you and get some support, and that saves a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of headache, a lot of. It compresses your time, guys. It compresses your time. That's what's important when time is our most valuable asset. So,
absolutely.
Thank you so much, Anahita. Any last words of advice for our audience?
Get an accountant when you just start, so you have somebody to run the numbers with you. Awesome. It's important to have that.
That's great business advice in general. Yes. Awesome. Thank you so much, Anahita. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Amplify You family. Go out there, have a fabulous week, and we'll see you again next week with another fabulous interview. And stay tuned. We'll be back.
Thank you.